Parallels between both Cait and Vi's prison scenes are actually insane, and both these sequences served as breaking points in their relationship at the time, as well as served as gestures. Let's take a moment to briefly focus on just how poetic Arcane created the references between the first and one of the last scenes that Caitlin and Vi shared, and how similar they are contrary to their clear differences. To start with, Caitlin and Vi met in prison cell, except when Caitlin shows up in Stillwater, she was expecting a highly aggressive criminal who she might have to push in order to get to Jinx. She was still quite innocent at the time, idealistic, hoping to break some minor rules for a greater purpose. She came because she was looking for Jinx. She came against her mother's wishes, who wanted her to take care of security measures at best and not put herself in any danger. Instead, she found Vi, her future wife, you won't convince me otherwise, someone she did not expect to begin with, and their interactions with one another were hostile to say the least. Caitlin came from a position of power, untrusting, creating distance between them underlined visually by both the line that was not to be crossed, as well as by the prison bars. Vi, on the other hand, was expecting to be abused again by the guards or other inmates. She was angry, broken, and alone. Now, in the final season, Caitlin came to the cell already suspecting Vi is inside. Guessing correctly that Vi went down then to release Jinx, she allowed for it to happen by getting rid of the guards. For the first time, she allowed her to do whatever she wished regarding her sister without intervening, which was a result of their prior fight, as well as incredibly grand gesture, given the fact Jinx effectively killed her mother. While in their first cell scene, Caitlin trusted Vi enough to release her in order to get help from her when it comes to capturing Jinx without any guarantees she will deliver. In the final cell scene, she provided an ultimate act of trust by giving her the agency regarding Jinx's fate. Jinx was always standing between them. During their first meeting, the line drawn on the floor obviously served as a security measure, but it drew my attention that its color was exactly one that always represented Jinx. Jinx has been an obstacle, something they'd never agree on, especially in Season 2 when Caitlin was after Jinx not just because she was a criminal, but also because she was a person responsible for her mother's death, someone preventing her from ever getting closer to her mother. Line also stood for lack of trust and initial bias that came from different upbringings, coming from Piltover and Zone, up and down. But in Season 2 that line was fully gone, and I believe it vanished the moment Jinx accepted them and gave Vi her blessing before running off. Differences between Vi and Caitlin were at this point erased. It did not matter much how many things contradicted their relationship because too many things connected them now. Lack of trust was gone. Different upbringings did not matter as much anymore. And most of all, the line was gone because Jinx's opposition against the relationship vanished. While in Season 1, Jinx could not agree with the fact Vi joined Piltover's enforcers. In Season 2, she understood she also needs to make an effort to keep her sister happy. That her sister is happy when with Caitlin. That Caitlin is not as bad of a person as Jinx painted her to be. And she allowed for this to happen by taking herself out of the equation. Yet another contrast between both prison cells was Vi's attitude. During their first meeting, she was sarcastic, hostile, unbothered. It came from a place of having to protect oneself her entire life, most of all during the last years when she was stuck there without knowing what happened to Powder, without knowing if she's alive and if she's ever going to come out. It was a facade to hide her true feelings and her true self, but quite far from how actually fragile Vi was deep down. There's a moment that shows exactly that. Caitlin opening the cell door and Vi's shock someone trusted her, validated her. Caitlin also saw that. She put her guard down and turned around. Now in Season 2 that facade was entirely gone. Vi, upon Caitlin's arrival, straight away described exactly how she felt. She exposed how vulnerable she was. She was not afraid to share her feelings with Caitlin, even despite thinking that she has lost her that day too. In particular, we saw the very same expression when she heard Cait allowed for her to free Jinx. During the first meetup, Vi did not know what happened to Powder. She was stuck there because she rejected Powder after Vander's death due to Marcus's actions. She wanted to help Powder, but she couldn't leave due to outside circumstances. However, in their second scene, she was stuck in that cell precisely because of Jinx's actions, who locked her up inside, this time rejecting her help. Vi couldn't leave even if she wanted to. And both times, it was actually Caitlin that released her, but under drastically varying circumstances. Because while in season 1 Cait let her go to get her help, she also felt like she could trust her, and that feeling was reciprocated. Because Vi could have easily left Caitlin the moment they left Stillwater building, yet she stayed. In season 2, Vi was inside because Caitlin trusted her to handle her sister as she saw fit. Going down the cells in both these scenarios, Caitlin did not know what she would find. The first one was obviously a clear unknown in a major way. However, during the second scene, she had no idea if Jinx would still be there, if Jinx would have gone with Vi, if Jinx would have had Vi locked up inside to stop her from pursuing her, which ended up being the case. It ultimately means that during both these scenes, what Caitlin actually gave to Vi was essentially freedom. In season 1, it was literal freedom. In season 2, Vi by far was not a prisoner, but the freedom that she was given by Cait regarded her own fate. She could go after Jinx the moment cell doors open, even against her specific wish. She could have left the cell and Caitlin, but her choice was to stay and show gratitude to Caitlin, because for the first time Caitlin did not expect her to be anything, to do anything, to be anyone other than herself. And she thanked her by having sex with her. Yet again, both scenes turned out to be similar. Putting oneself in Vi's shoes truly has had it horrible over the years spent in Stillwater. She lost Vander, couldn't properly grieve him. She rejected Powder, and the last thing she saw was her being taken by Silco, result of her action. She did not know what else happened, and she was stuck with her own blame among unfriendly faces. That is where Caitlin stepped in, offering her a sign of trust, offering her freedom, not treating her unfairly. And she did the exact same thing showing up in season 2. On top of that, her actions spoke much louder than words, because during their most intimate moments, she reached out to the place where Vi was wounded. Action performed by Noxian soldiers, so Caitlin probably felt responsible for it too. But also place she herself hit her with a gun, and by dragging her to herself, Vi forgave her. While season 1 prison cell both led to Vi literally being freed and her trusting Caitlin enough to stay with her. Trust that was a direct response to Cait letting her go. Season 2 scenes served as an ultimate reconciliation, final gesture of acceptance, unspoken apology, and last act of their journey together, leading them to becoming a permanent, domesticated couple. It was extremely poetic both these scenes happened in the very same place, not just because they got together in the same spot where they met, but also because they both expanded beyond literal prison bars, exposed themselves to another person, and accepted one another for who they were. In one of these cases, by literally taking their clothes off. Vi's new look also symbolizes just how vulnerable she is now. No longer a fighter visually. She's uncovered, but that's because she knows she is now protected, in the same way she was probably last protected by Vander.
Despite it all, I can tell. You have a good heart.
You've got a good heart.